When you first enter the cockpit, all the EIS displays are normally off. The displays require alternating current electrical power to operate, so unless either the APU or a ground electrical supply are available, the displays will not operate. We will connect a ground electrical supply for you. Normally, the ECAM screens are switched on in the following order: upper, then lower. For training purposes, let's switch them on in reverse order to see what happens. Notice that engine warning display information is displayed on the lower ECAM screen. This occurs because it has priority. Therefore, if there is only one ECAM screen available, the engine warning display information will be displayed. Now switch on the upper ECAM display to see what happens. Switch on the upper ECAM. Notice that the engine warning display information moves to its normal position on the upper ECAM screen, and the door oxygen system page is displayed on the lower ECAM screen. The door oxygen page is what the ECAM system will automatically display because you are on the ground with the doors open. The memo area of the engine warning display has a message telling you that refueling is taking place. We will now start the APU. Click on the APU picture. Notice that the APU system page is automatically displayed by the ECAM system. There is no light on the ECAM control panel APU key because the APU page has been automatically called as part of a normal sequence. The APU is now running. Once the APU has been started, the ECAM door oxygen page is automatically recalled. As the external power is no longer needed, we have disconnected it for you. The next action is to press the recall key on the ECAM control panel. Pressing this key recalls any warnings or cautions that have been cleared since the last power-up. Press the recall key. Since we are starting the aircraft from cold, a normal memo will be seen on the engine warning display because there is nothing to be recalled. During the pre-flight check, one of the things we do is check fluid levels. For example, the quantity levels for hydraulic fluid and engine oil. The required system pages are manually called by pressing the associated key on the ECAM control panel. Let's call the ECAM hydraulic page. The ECAM hydraulic system page is displayed. Notice that there is a light on the hydraulic key on the ECAM control panel to indicate that it was manually selected. You will do the fluid level check in the hydraulic module. So let's see how to return to the ECAM door oxygen page. To deselect a manually selected ECAM page, the lighted key on the ECAM control panel is pressed. Press the hydraulic key on the ECAM control panel. The ECAM door oxygen page is displayed and there are no lights on the ECAM control panel. Remember the lights out philosophy, which also applies to the ECAM control panel. The switching panels are checked to confirm that all the switches are in their normal position. The passengers have boarded, the doors have been closed, and the aircraft is ready for pushback. Notice that on the door oxygen page, there are green indications on all the doors, which means you are in a go state. When the ground personnel attaches a tow bar to the aircraft, they disconnect part of the nose wheel steering system. The ECAM system will detect this and provide a green memo indication. Nose wheel steering disconnect. Let's start the engines. Click on the engine to start it. The ECAM system will automatically display the ECAM engine page while the engines are being started. Notice that as soon as the first engine is running, the nose wheel steering disconnect memo changes to amber. This happens because ECAM has detected that you are capable of taxiing, but the steering is disconnected. The pushback is complete. All engines are running and the parking brake has been set on. Notice that when the ground personnel reconnects the nose wheel steering, the amber memo disappears. The ECAM wheel page is automatically called so that during taxiing, the brake temperatures can be monitored. Part of the after start checks involves arming the ground spoilers and setting the flaps. We will arm the spoilers for you. You can select the flaps. Click on the flap lever. We have armed the ground spoilers for you. A memo appears on the engine warning display showing that the ground spoilers have been armed, and the flap indication changes to show the flap setting. Another part of the after start checks involves checking the status page. As in the example shown, at the bottom of the engine warning display, there is no status reminder. The status page is clear. The APU is no longer required, so we have switched it off for you. All that remains in the right-hand memo area is the parking brake message. The door oxygen page should be checked to confirm that all slides are armed before taxiing. Call the ECAM door oxygen page. On the ECAM door oxygen page, observe that there are no amber indications and that there are 8 white slide indications. You will see more about the door oxygen page in the doors modules. Deselect the door oxygen page. The ECAM door oxygen page is replaced by the wheel page. The aircraft is now ready to taxi. The brakes are released, which clears the park brake memo, and the clock elapsed time is set to run. Select Run on the clock elapsed time. The elapsed time is now running and the aircraft is taxiing out. The flight controls are checked during the taxi out. The ECAM system automatically calls the ECAM flight control page as soon as any of the flight controls are moved on the ground. Approximately 2 minutes after the third engine has been started, a takeoff memo appears on the engine warning display. The takeoff memo lists a series of actions required by the crew to prepare the aircraft for takeoff. If you look at the list, you can see that there are blue action items remaining, specifically setting the auto brake to maximum and testing the takeoff configuration. We will set the auto brakes to maximum for you. The blue action item changed to green and moved. Just before completing the before takeoff checklist, the takeoff configuration test is carried out. This is done by pressing the takeoff configuration key on the ECAM control panel. Select the takeoff configuration key. By selecting the takeoff configuration key, the ECAM system simulates the application of takeoff power. If the aircraft is not in a takeoff configuration, for example, flaps not in the correct configuration, then an ECAM warning or caution will be triggered. Provided ECAM detects that the aircraft is in a normal configuration, then the takeoff configuration memo changes to normal. Observe that there are no blue action lines left on the engine warning display. We are now at the threshold, about to take off. If required, the chronometer may be started. Start the chronometer. Observe that the chronometer has started. When the engines are set to takeoff thrust, the ECAM engine page is automatically displayed. On the engine warning display, notice that the takeoff memo is replaced by normal memos. A magenta takeoff inhibit message has appeared. The takeoff inhibit message advises you that some warnings and cautions have been inhibited during the takeoff phase.
The aircraft is now airborne. After passing 1,500 feet above aerodrome level, or 2 minutes after liftoff, the takeoff inhibit ceases, the memo is removed, and the cruise page appears.
At the acceleration altitude, the climb phase is activated. The aircraft accelerates, and the flaps may then be retracted. Click on the flap lever. The aircraft is now established in cruise. Periodically, a routine review of the system pages is carried out. Call the ECAM engine page. Notice that while the engine page is displayed, the corresponding light on ECAM control panel engine key is illuminated. You will study the indications on the system pages in the appropriate modules, so let's continue with the review. Call the ECAM bleed page. Let's continue the review. Call the ECAM press page. Call the ECAM Call the ECAM hydraulic page. Call the ECAM circuit breaker page. Call the ECAM APU page. Notice that there are amber indications on the APU page. Because the APU is shut down, these are normal for this stage of flight. Call the ECAM conditioning page. Call the ECAM door oxygen page. Call the ECAM wheel page. Call the ECAM flight control page. Call the ECAM fuel page. After reviewing the fuel page, the cruise page can be recalled. Notice that as there is no key to select the cruise page, you have to deselect the manually selected page. The cruise page is displayed, and the ECAM control panel has no lights illuminated. As an alternative to selecting the individual system keys, the All key can be used to sequence through the system pages. You will do this in the ECAM Abnormal Operation module. We will now establish a descent for landing at our destination. As part of the approach checks, the status page is checked. Since there is no status reminder on the engine warning display, the status page is normal. The aircraft is lined up on final approach. As the landing gear is extended, the ECAM system will automatically display the wheel page. The wheel page is displayed to provide information useful for the landing. For example, brake temperatures and spoiler deployment. On passing 2,000 feet with the gear down, a landing memo appears on the engine warning display. Notice that there is a blue action remaining, advising you to arm the spoilers. We will arm them for you. The blue action line is replaced by a green action completed indication. Notice that there are now no blue action lines outstanding. At approximately 800 feet, the landing inhibit becomes active, and this is indicated by a magenta memo. The landing inhibit message advises you that the vast majority of warnings and cautions have been inhibited during the landing phase. On landing, the chronometer can be stopped to give an indication of flight time. The chronometer only indicates up to 60 minutes and then starts again at 0. There is no chronometer indication for the number of hours. When the aircraft is finally parked, the elapsed time can be stopped by moving the selector to stop. In this example, the block time is 9 hours and 31 minutes. At engine shutdown, the ECAM door oxygen page is automatically recalled so that you can check slide disarming. Notice the pulsing status message on the engine warning display. This is telling you that there is a maintenance-related message on the status page that you have not seen. Call the status page. There is a white maintenance status message at the bottom of the status page. This message is an indication for maintenance personnel that a system requires a maintenance procedure at the next programmed servicing. It does not mean that the aircraft is unserviceable. Clear the status page. If the aircraft is being completely shut down, the ECAM displays are turned off using the appropriate brightness controls.